TTSA. Tenchi just raided us with a party of 3. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I forgot how to talk. Welcome in. Thank you, Tenchi. Thank you so much for the raid. I was having a lot of fun watching your stream. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow Tenchi. Tenchi is crazy good at pretty much everything he does. But yes, welcome in, everybody. Today it is the first day of October, in which it is scary month. It is the scary skeleton month. Welcome in, Ellen. Welcome in. Let me say hi to everybody. Welcome in, Ba. Welcome in, Knights. Welcome in, Eggman. Welcome in, Cinnery. Welcome in, Seth. And then obviously welcome in Tenchi and everybody who came in with Tenchi and Brian, of course. And welcome in Alpha. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Get your daily juices right now. Today's gonna be an interesting day. We're gonna be reading. No video games today. Thank you for the hydrate. I'm gonna need a lot of hydrates. And honestly, good day for me to not draw today because my back still kind of hurts. Less than before. My back is doing a lot better than it was before. And yes, Eve is dressed up today.
I'm dressed up too.
Yeah. So Eve is dressed up for today. You were playing Mega Bonk. So was Sen. My back is doing better. It's not 100% better, but it is doing better than it was before. Like, obviously, I still have some back pain, but it's not like agonizingly bad. But yes, today's gonna be a bit of a different stream. No art no art today. A little bit less art streams on during October. There will still be art streams. Like, I'm not saying there won't be. We are starting Godzilla. Today is gonna be solely focused on Godzilla NES. If we finish it, then we can do something else. But Godzilla NES is a bit of a long story, so we're gonna be here for a while. So here's what we're gonna do, right? Every chance we get to take a BRB, we should take that BRB for both the pacing of the story and for me to hydrate and rest my voice. It is a lot of reading. How's my back doing? My back is doing better, but it still hurts. A lot better than it was before. It was really bad on Sunday when I was streaming, but it's still, like I said, it still hurts, but I can't do too many tasks. But I was trying to help my dad earlier, like with a box, and it was not good. But yes, if you have not heard of Godzilla NES, it is a creepypasta. It is a story that's been around for quite a while. We're going to be reading it straight from the site, right? So no creepypasta.wiki or whatever. We're going straight to the source. We got pictures, we got the soundtrack, we got the cozy vibes, and in fact, let's go there right now. Bam. Oh, you can see the DK. That's the music I have at the moment. But if I have it over here, you can see the Godzilla NES story. So, yes, I'm playing DK64 music. You're gonna see me every once in a while just come over here and switch over the music because there is music to be changed. I am in a comfy chair today. Spooky DK64. Welcome in, Mush. So I am in my chair. I'm a little bit more animated than I was last time. Because last time I all I could do was blink, and then it was like one frame of blinking and like one frame of talking. It was very low effort, and I just made it a little bit less low effort. Yes, thank you for the hydrate as well. I'm gonna hydrate anyways, even though you didn't say. Almost don't want to reclaim. Just for right now, before we get started. And then I'll change back as we get started. Just for you, Ba, because Ba's birthday's today. Everyone say happy birthday to Ba. So everybody go happy birthday. I don't have a shortcut for the sitting yet, so I'm gonna have to go into the thing. Yeah, everybody say happy birthday, Ba. So if you don't know, I made the same typo twice. If you don't know, Godzilla NES is a creepypasta about a NES game called Godzilla. It's a Godzilla Monster of Monsters. It's a, can we get a shout out for Ba_though? Excuse me. I know nothing about the actual game. I've never played the actual game, even though I kind of want to, because the way the mechanics are described in this game, my chat is like half highlights. I did not pause Made Redeem. Sen, do you want to pause Made Redeem? I'm giving Ba free Made for today, just for a little bit, because it's Ba's birthday. He requested it. And before and once I start reading, I'll turn it off. Or you can turn it off, but what I mean is I'll switch back. The original game just had squares and to move across fighting monsters. Question. Is the original game fun? I'm genuinely curious, because I would like to play Monsters, even if it's on my own, the NES version. The way the mechanics are described in this game, in this story, give me a pretty good idea of what the game is like, even if things change. right? This is a story. And remember, this is a creepypasta story, so there's going to be cliches, but I wouldn't say it doesn't look super promising in the AVGN video. For a kid in the 80s, it was fun. Nowadays, it's quite quality is not that great. It did not age well. I have to try it out. I'm a bit more when it comes to older style video games. I'm very lenient on what I think is good or not good, because I understand the limitations of what things were back in the day. For example, there was a game that I do plan on streaming at some point in this month, and it's called Dracula. It's called Kid Dracula, and I think it's a fun NES game, right? Like, I wouldn't say it's perfect. The final boss is kind of evil, but I would play it over Castlevania 1. Have a good one, Ellen. If you want to stick around for the story, watch the VOD. I will publish the VOD, hopefully as soon as I can. If you like Suzyzilla Godzilla, I recommend checking it out. There are a couple of NES games where I'm like, I'll give it a bit more leeway, because things like game development back then was very like, it was the Wild West, and I would say I would say the Wild West continued up until like somewhere towards the end of the Super Nintendo era, and then it continued to be the Wild West again for the N64 era for 3D games, until I would say the GameCube era, in which things kind of gotten straightened out. So once the GameCube era came in, that's where modern game development standards started applying to video games. The reason why is because, like, by the end of the Super Nintendo era, we started having a better idea of what 2D video games should be like. Not all the time. We still had like weird experimentations, but it was like pretty down. It's pretty nailed down, and you can see that. Knowledge being used into the Game Boy Advance era, which I would consider to be one of the best sprite-based 2D game eras, because they had all their knowledge from the Super Nintendo and they put it into the GBA with the modern standards of the GameCube at the time. So it's really cool. Yeah, just quality games. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not necessarily graphical, because graphics are very subjective, but I will say that, like, you end up getting less experimental games as the Super Nintendo comes in towards that end of that era, until we start hitting 3D games, because then it kind of resets to the point where we're back in those what do you call it, Wild West days, because 3D was so new and so innovative, and by the time we hit GameCube, PS2 is when we starting to establish things, because like we had we had Mario Sunshine, and say what you want about Mario Sunshine, but I would say Mario Sunshine looks pretty clean. And then we, Wind Waker, and then we have like PS2 games, and that era was actually, it's looking pretty nice. I'm kind of rambling a little bit because I'm stalling so that Ba can have enough maid time. But there's a bunch of Game Boy games and RPG games that are great. I discovered there's a Final Fantasy Legends game. Yeah, a lot of people like that one. Dragon Quest Monsters. I was like, here's the thing. There are a lot of good classic old school games, and I will say that some of the comfiest games that you could play is a very good Game Boy game and a very good NES game. There's just something about an NES game, a good one, that has just wonderful aesthetics, and it's just comfy to play. There's like that like simplicity and like home factor. Like I would say that Kirby's Adventure on the NES is one of those games where like you feel very comfy, and it's like as if you're sitting beside the TV at like your grandparents' house playing on a CRT. that's what I think of like a good NES game. There's a nostalgia about it, and it's very nice. The same with Game Boy. Game Boy is very nice when you can see the Game Boy. By the way, I do have a Game Boy Pocket. I can't find my Game Boy Color, but I do have a Game Boy Pocket, and I tried playing a little bit on it. It sucks. I can't play anything on it because I can't see the game. Welcome in, Culture Chimp. We're about to get started soon. We're doing just a little bit of yapping before we start reading the story. But yeah, there's nothing like a good NES game to be like, you know, to bring in that comfort in Game Boy as well. And so I think there is a sort of, and I'm gonna tie this back up. I'm gonna tie this back up to Godzilla, NES Godzilla, Monsters, because I think, in my perspective, I think NES games can be very comforting because of that simplicity, and because of people from within those times remembered that era as like very comforting, and they would like visit their grandparents who may or may not be around anymore, right? You can see how somebody would see a game like that might not even be the greatest game, but they can see a game like that and be like, you know what, I miss playing that game. And they would probably want to go search for it. If that makes sense. Especially if they're a Godzilla fan. ROM hack of this creepypasta that's incomplete at the moment. I think there's a fan game. Of it. But yes. So chat. As we how do I describe cozy? It's like playing GameCube with the lights off and you just glow off a TV. Yep, it's kind of like that. It's like if you're like cozy, it's like as if you have like there's nothing to think about in the outside world. You're just like, you remember like a time when you're like younger and when things seemed a lot brighter, you were like less stressed out about things, and then you had like a video game, whether the video game was like scary or interesting or just plain old fun. It was like to a simpler time, and so a lot of people feel nostalgic over like the GameCube, and I never grew up with the GameCube, but I did grow up kind of playing Melee a bit because my cousins owned it. Whenever I visited my cousins, I would play Melee, so I did grow up with Melee. You're very nostalgic for the DS original. I am very nostalgic over the DS Lite. I didn't know the DS original existed until way later. And I still have my original DS, and it works great. And in fact, my L button was not working until my cousin fixed it very recently. And now it works like a dream. And I have a little thing called an R4, and I can play whatever I want on it. Which has been a lot of fun. And obviously I have my quote-unquote SP where I can play whatever I want on there too. Based R4 user. I have my quote-unquote SP where I can play whatever I want on it up until PlayStation 1. And I've been just playing randomizers on that, not gonna lie. I mean, there are games that I do play. I recently finished playing Minish Cap. I love Minish Cap. I hadn't played it in a while, so I was like, I'm gonna play it again. And I was like, this game's gorgeous. But but yeah, I would consider one of my favorite generations of gaming. One of my favorite generations of gaming is within the era of the GameCube and the Wii. I would say that'd be one of my favorites. Obviously, I'm nostalgic over N64 and Super Nintendo, because those are the ones that I grew up with. But there's something special about GameCube and like Wii that like I don't care about. Look, here's the thing. Even Waggle, whatever, right? There is just something magical about the UI that the Wii had. There's something magical about the UI the Wii had, and I feel like Sen is getting that. Like Sen has that like specific how do I say it? Sin has that specific aesthetic to them. I always get a little retro vibes for me. Look, here's the thing. A lot of my streams are very 80s inspired, like neon cities and stuff like that. I'm very like synthwave inspired because I love synthwave. I love vaporwave. I love future funk. I love a lot of that stuff. Like I would listen to Electronic Gems, the YouTube channel's like playlist for like forever. And I'm like going back and I'm like, I need to get back into those roots. Cause there are a couple of things that I wanna like kind of bring back. Like I wanna expand my city idea that I have in the background. I'll put you into some synthwave beds. I need to update my I'm gonna rename my channel on my server to Jexcore Music, so that way I can put music in there, and then people can put music that they think matches whatever I like. Welcome in, Toxan. I'm very like lo-fi jazz specific. Like I love jazz. You all know that my favorite instrument is the saxophone. If you place a saxophone in your song, I will absolutely love it. I freaking love the saxophone. There is an emote of mine that is the saxophone. There you go, Seth. I have a lot of music from the 80s, maybe even the 70s and 60s, and whatever, but it's more rock bands and band suite. B-movie quote. Lo-fi jazz is so nice. Remember that drive? Yeah, I do, Ba, and it was good. There's definitely a song I think you'll love then. Oh, yeah, for sure. Ba sent me music a little while back, and I freaking loved it. I thought it was great. The only problem with a lot of, like, those kinds of music is that I can't play it on stream. And so I'm just like, oh, man. I would love to play certain, like, try to add sax and jazz to the Eve theme songs. Tenchi, your freaking sound, your freaking like music is amazing. According to the in-game radio, it's copyright free. Bob, please put that in the music that Jex would like, because I would love to put that during art stream. I'm gonna stick with the spooky scary stuff right now. Twitch VOD track stuff. I know, but then when you rewatch it later, the music's gone. And so when you watch the VOD, there's like nothing. I would say it would be like a little bit of a boring VOD to watch. Assuming people even want to watch the VODs, but I'm thinking about like maybe somewhere in the future somebody might want to watch them. My favorite synthwave bands literally put on a statement saying you can play their music while streaming. That's amazing. TWRP is a similar Daft Punk, but it's a different band that's a little more modern, but very similar to Daft Punk. I love that I've gotten this conversation about music going. Look, I love music. Music is great. Lex! Thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. And how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing great. Bit of work around, yeah. It's good to see you here. Appreciate it. We're gonna be reading in a bit. I'm just having a little conversation as before we get started. Give me like 2 minutes and we'll get started. To reach that 30-minute mark. But yeah, so there is that like lo-fi aesthetic music that I do sometimes play on stream whenever I do art streams. For art streams, excuse me, almost wish I did more music stuff. Tenchi, you did a lot today. You did a lot. My favorite thing about doing art streams is playing some of that like lo-fi, like what I want like for an art stream like feeling is to feel like you're in a cafe. You're like in the cafe in one of my in like the city in the background that I have, right? You're in one of the cafes that exists within this expansive city that I have. and it's time. It kind of like hip shop, but it's more like jazzy kind of. If you've heard some of the music in my art streams, especially it's hard to explain, but I'm very much like inspired by that retro aesthetic and very much like that. Another thing that I'm also very inspired by and I think is really funny is freaking what was it? Freaking like 1950s music for whatever reason. I find it hilarious, like the music that was used for SpongeBob. I love that music. I don't know why I love it, but I love it. It's like the music that was used in SpongeBob or Ren and Stimpy, like the early days of those shows. Even though I never watched Ren and Stimpy, and the only reason I know the music comes from there, is that whenever I would look up some of the SpongeBob tracks, it would always say that it was from Ren and Stimpy. So I know they used kind of the same stock music from there. I think we were talking about Fallout music for a second, like Ink Spot's music. I don't want to set the world on fire. I will share my whenever I do end up changing that change that channel to Jexcore. I'm gonna start posting some of the music that I'm very that I like to listen to on occasion when I'm off stream, so that way you can all kind of get my taste in music. But if you haven't already, I think one of the best examples of my taste in music is just Tenchi's track that he wrote for Eve. I think that's amazing. I think that's like very on the nail for the type of music that I like. But yeah. All right, chat. But right. Okay. So let me go ahead. We're gonna get a little comfy here, chat. We're gonna get a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna get a little comfy here. There we go. We're getting a little comfy here today. Because today we're gonna start reading some of the music. Oh, we're gonna start reading music. You know, I used to know how to read music. I used to know how to read music sheets because I would play guitar when I was in high school. I don't know how to play guitar anymore. It's been forever. And the only music I've made is you've already heard on stream. You've already heard the music I've made on stream. I played that on piano. And I don't know how to play piano. I had a French horn used to play for some reason. I was okay with guitar. We used to perform. It was high school. It was like a high school class, and where I'm from, it was very Mexican music core, and so I would go out and perform for that stuff. And I don't even remember. Not gonna lie, I don't remember most of it. Every good boy does fine. I think. Okay. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started with the spooky music. Let me go ahead and change the music real quick. So we've got the Godzilla music. I know you can see the Godzilla right here. I've got the YouTube link right here. We're gonna get started. And if you don't know, look at my background real quick. It's the same background I had last year. But it's just like, there you go. That's what it is. The same background. This will not be the only creepypasta we read on stream for this month. I do plan on reading the music. See, I got the music brain right now. I will be reading the suggestion from Mario Fan, because Mario Fan had a suggestion last year that I did not get to read because last year on October was a bit it was a little funky. This year we're a bit more organized, so it's gonna be a fun October, and we're gonna get started with Monsters. This is Chapter 1, Earth and Mars. Let me go ahead and get this. Welcome in, Nebula. We're just getting started. Let me know if the music's too loud. So this is Chapter 1, Earth and Mars. When I was a little kid, The two things I love most in life were Godzilla and NES games. So, naturally, when Godzilla Monster of Monsters came out, it was like a dream come true. Well, almost. To sum it up, most of the game revolved around getting through very repetitive outer space levels while smashing up tanks and jets and fighting against Godzilla's monster enemies. Overall, it was pretty mediocre, but back then, I didn't care. When I got the game as a present for my 10th birthday, I played it night and day as much as I could. Volume's good. The VOD will be available later. Music might even be too quiet. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit higher. Okay, so I'll try to pause a little bit every paragraph or so I can take a look at chat. All right. Just gotta make sure I'm not like super high up in the. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I had traded the game for Amagon a year later. So much to regret when I found out that what the game was like. Recently, I bought a new NES system, and through a lot of hunting and asking around, my friend Billy managed to find a copy of Godzilla Monster of Monsters. Recco, welcome in, Recco. Thank you for the hydrates and the stretcheroonies. It's already nostalgic. Hope you're enjoying Recco. Hopefully you're having a good day. We're barely starting reading the creepypasta. Barely started. I was pumped to play my favorite childhood game. It never even occurred to me to ask where Billy had found it. He almost gave me some other games like Legend of Zelda, Bomberman, and some stupid thing called Action 52. But Godzilla had to come first. Creepypasta. So I started the game, and nostalgia came flooding back like a tidal wave. Godzilla's 8-bit theme song flooded proudly through the speakers, and I was soon grinning like an idiot. Yeah, Action 52. The music you're hearing right now is that title theme, by the way. I'm playing the music as I remember the story being played, because there is a very famous reading of this story on YouTube, and this is the same music that was used in that story. So I'm gonna try to match that. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna try to see if I can have it. Okay. Oh, I can actually just read it like this. No, actually, no, I have to read it like this. Okay. Some people laugh at me for saying such outdated for playing such outdated games, but I've never had much enjoyment for any other games than those on the NES. Those 8-bit games take me. Oh, Steve. Now Cheeto Man
just raided us with a party of 4. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Welcome in, Raiders. Let's go ahead and give you that shout out. Welcome in, Raiders. I'm Jexo, an artist and gaming streamer. Right now we are reading Godzilla NES Creepypasta that we just got started. But how is Lunar Silver Star Story? Welcome in, Kabane. We're just getting started, so you're all in just in time for the nice reading of this very famous creepypasta from way back when. This is all you need to know. Senki, play that. Let me go ahead and pause the music real quick. Can you play that, son? Nebula, thank you so much for the sub to Kabane. What is this?
I'm sorry. Does that say I'm
Oh my god, Nebula, thank you for the sub for Eggman. What? What?
I know that I can't read, but that's what that says, right?
It might. Eggman, you got a sub. Nebula just gave you a sub. So, that's great. You know, the power of potassium. All right, we're gonna keep reading this story, but thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. If you need to do any post-stream self-care, please do. I will take care of your goobers. And we are right back into the story. All right, I'm gonna start back from the beginning of the paragraph, so we're not lost. Again, I will pause every single paragraph so I can take a look at chat. Nebula, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for Rekko. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for Rekko. You know, we do have sub goals. We do have sub goals for this month. If we reach 30, you will, as every month, right, from here on, and it might change if we get bigger. If we, oh my god, thank you for the hype train. If we get 30 subs, you will all get maid refunds. You will all, thank you, Sin, for the 100 biddies.
Hype train. Yippee.
Yippee.
Yippee. If we all get, if we get 30 subs here, it'll be, you will get maid refunds as a sort of incentive for you all participating on the stream and everything. We did an on-screen sub goal. I have to make one of those days. You're right, Sen. And that might require an overlay. Xander!
Oh, hype train.
Xander, thank you so much for the sub. Excuse me. Yeah, the widget. Maybe not right now, just because I don't want it to cover the story. Nebula, thank you so much for the sub to Steve. 30 is for maid refunds. 35, we will do a... Who doesn't love an Arial font text element? We will do... for 35, we will have Maid Eve as a potential... As a funny potential talking TTS sprite that you can... That she'll come up and she'll be in a maid outfit. For 40, she will be Butler. So you can have that as yet another option for Eve, right? We're getting both options, both maid and butler for Eve, right? And for 50, it's Danganronpa, right? That was the goal from last month. This month, we're bringing it right over. So if you want to go ahead and support me, we have some of those sub goals. I will work on those on stream so that you all can participate in the design. Though I do like Tenchi's design already for Maid Eve. But we'll discuss it further if we ever reach those goals. But yes, those are the goals for this month, for the month of October. Let's get back over. We're gonna get started. But if you want to participate in the hype train, we are on level 2 and we're 55% in. I don't know how much that means, but wait, I can click the thing, right? I don't know what this means. 800 bits or 2 subs. There you go. With 2 subs or 800 bits, you can level up the hype train, level 2. Yeah, 2 subs for level 2 complete. We're gonna get started. Where am I? Okay. Okay, we're gonna. Where was I? Okay. Some people laugh at me for playing such outdated games, but I've never had much enjoyment for playing games other than those on the NES. Those 8-bit games take me back to when things were much simpler, more safe. But after what's happened with this game, I don't have those feelings anymore. This is one of those cliches. Thank you for the hydrate, Ellen. This is one of those cliches where it's like, but this thing happened to me. Back then, this was an early creepypasta, so it wasn't much of a cliche back then. But whenever we do read some more slop creepypastas, it is very, very much apparent that they love using the "but I don't feel this way anymore." Still lurking but interacting, satisfied. Thank you, Ellen. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Can't wait to see how the Godzilla from the garage sale went. Sonic.exe, yep. So then I did read Sonic.exe last year. And we might read it again this year, right? Or at least I might read it again. I'm thinking Wednesdays would be a good time for reading creepypastas or reading horror stories. Because like I don't know, I think it'll be fun. Nebula, thank you so much for the sub to Eli. I really appreciate it. Chat, we need one more sub so we can beat that level 2. I got this game from a friend who bought it at the yard sale where the seller found it in the street. I had forgotten how quick the fun of smashing things as Godzilla wore off on the scrolling levels. The game bombards you with bullets and things. Oh, Sam, thank you so much for the sub to Annie. Thank you so much. We have beaten level 2. We are now on level 3. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I had forgotten how quick the fun of smashing things as Godzilla wore off in the scrolling levels. The game bombards you with bullets and things crashing into you from every direction, and you're too big to avoid most of them. Although my excitement had worn down some, it wasn't long at all before I got to my first boss battle. So we're gonna change the music to Gizora. Let me see. Oh, I'm a little bit high up. My first opponent was Gizora, an obscure squid kaiju who had never been in a Godzilla movie. The most annoying thing about Gizora is that he always fights you, always backs you into a corner and starts smacking you with his tentacle, and you're unable to move until he gets off of you. This move doesn't do any damage, but it can stall you until the timer runs out, and you have to start the fight over. And he regains some health. As annoying as it sounds, and of course he did it when I fought him. It's as annoying as it sounds, and of course he did it when I fought him. Only, for some reason, this caused the game to glitch up, because once he started smacking me, he never stopped. The timer is supposed to end the fight in about 40 seconds, but this lasted nearly 5 minutes. After a while, the graphics started to mess up, with the little red blocks all over the place. Let's go ahead and see. This is how the first screenshot looks like. That's not good. That definitely is glitched up. More like K-Zora. Also, give me a quick second. I think somebody rang the doorbell. Give me a quick second, chat.
I'm on team.
Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. My dad needed to get in the house and the door was locked for whatever reason. Okay, so look at these glitch. Doug Zoy. I gotta adjust the contrast. Alright, so this is the first screenshot. It's pretty glitched up, obviously. And we got, okay, let's go, okay. Which was weird, but I just took the game out, blew on it, and then I started it again. I wasn't about to let the little glitch stand in my way. So I started again, and this time defeated Gizora and the level's other monster, Ogera, without any problems. And so I was on to the next planet, Mars. I browsed around. Let me go ahead and see if I can switch the music. Wait, Iceland, thanks so much for the 100 biddies. Blowing on the cartridge doesn't work. Just in time for the hype train. So then it was on to the next planet, Mars. I browsed around the board and found something unexpected. Where Varen's piece should have been, there was instead a piece of representing Titanosaurus. There was only 10 kaiju in the game, and Titanosaurus was not one of them. Or so I thought. Perhaps Titanosaurus was originally intended to be in the game, but was swapped out with Varen for some reason? Go ahead and see that. So I believe Titanosaurus. This is Titanosaurus right here, because it's highlighted over here. You can see the outline. You can see the outline right there. Titsaurus. Thank you for the hype train, everybody. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I got this. That was the emote that I got. But thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, Kekon. We are reading evil, scary stories. So I began to feel very excited. Not only was I playing my favorite game, but I was playing a prototype of some sort with a new monster. Needless to say, I ran through the levels as fast as I could to see Titanosaurus in action. I fought Godzilla again and beat him before he could do his tentacle smack. But this time, the glitch started happening when he died. Godzilla's sprite did not sink to the didn't sink to the bottom, but instead seemed to be devoured by the glitch, as his eyes started to randomly spawning all over the screen. As we can see the screenshot over here. Look at that.
More.
You will piss your pants. Titanosaurus looked at me and blowing cartridges will corrode the context. Godzilla is unfazed by the glitches, you're right. I know now that these glitches with Godzilla were my first warning sign of something that was very wrong with this game, but I foolishly ignored it and proceeded to fight Mogera, who this time had a glitch of his own. The Mogera. Look at that. Big lad. Mogera was twice the size he should have been, which startled me. He was so considerably harder to beat than usual, which is to say, not at all. But soon I had defeated him also. And when he died, yet another glitch happened. It looks like he's like deteriorating. He's so wide. Considerably harder. I have learned how to get NES games to boot up easily. This happened extremely fast, so I was lucky to get a screen cap of it all. But what happened? Was that the giant Mogera sprite started to shatter and melt. Also, if you could look at the garbled text at the right corner of the screen, you'll notice it appears to be like a bird cage. Like a bird in a cage. I still have no idea what that meant. I'm assuming it's this. So I'm assuming you can... Let me scroll up so you can see a little bit here. I'm assuming it's like this right here. What I think it is. At this point, I was about to fight Titanosaurus, and I was worried what kind of glitches would happen this time. But to my surprise, Titanosaurus looked just fine. Although all of the game's bipedal monsters were the same height, Titanosaurus was a bit taller. But since Titanosaurus was actually taller than Godzilla in his film debut, I thought it was actually kind of cool. Possibly have screen crap is what I was editing on stream. Creature. Look at this. It's actually kind of this creepypasta has really good sprite art, by the way. Just letting you know, it's very on like it looks like it would have come from the game to an extent. After a very fun fight with the monster that wasn't supposed to be in the game, I took over the enemy base and proceeded not to Jupiter like normal, but instead to Pathos. I believe this is for Pathos. Yeah, this is the freaking music that they used. Pathos. Pasta's getting creepy now. This is chapter 1. We are now in chapter 2. Pathos. Space Godzilla, my beloved. I digs. Pathos was the same as Jupiter in layout, except the board was dark blue rather than green. First thing I noticed was that the usual level icons have been replaced by blue rock and some kind of orange honeycomb shape. There was one icon that had a part of the jungle icon shape, but I didn't pay much thought to it. I checked the other side of the board to see a new monster. Instead of Hedorah, it was Biollante. You see the creature over there? But that couldn't be right. Godzilla vs. Biollante didn't come out until 1989. This game was made in 1988. Perhaps Toho put Biollante in the game to build excitement for the movie next year, but changed their minds? I tried to rationalize the game's abnormalities any way I could, but this would prove to be futile. Pathos' map song was the first new song I heard in the game. Like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe, so I'll try. It started out slow and suspenseful, much slower than any song in the game. But every 12 seconds or so, there would be a loud clashing sound, and the tempo changed. It was like as if the composer randomly played parts from 5 different songs with the same instrument. You're hearing coyotes. I moved Godzilla over to the many blue rock icons that had replaced the jungle icons, and started the level. The level resembled a blue mountain range with a blood-red sky, but the music changed at the perfect time. Hello, Smash Bros. Go ahead and there we go. Let me go back to reading. I moved Godzilla over to one of many blue rocks icons that have replaced the jungle icons and started the level. The level resembled the blue mountain range with a blood-red planet in the sky, but there was something odd about the mountains. They had a shredded paper look to them. I thought at first maybe the glitch had affected it, but it looked far too intentional. Suspense. That looks really nice, by the way. Biollante, my beloved. Hey, I remember reading this a long time ago. I love this story. It's got its problems, and we will discuss those problems as we go. But the aesthetic of this creepypasta is very, very is very good. I like it a lot. Big fan of this creepypasta. I quickly noticed something else about this new level. There were no enemies, not even any obstacles. I should also mention that this was the point. This is the point meter. This is where the point meter, the freaking typo. This is where the point meter started to become glitched beyond comprehension. But it didn't bother me much. I never kept up with game points. Yeah, were. So, without having to focus on anything, I listened to the music while getting through the level unopposed. The music had a sorrowful feel to it. It would have been rather pleasant if I heard it in a normal game. The level went on for 3 screens. With no obstacles around, I had finished it very quickly. I tried other levels in the same type to see if any enemies appear, but there were none. There were little else to be seen in the Blue Mountains. So I tried another level type. I started one with the orange levels, one of the orange levels, and my eyes were assaulted with the grotesque background of a tumorous orange eyes. The sky was the same as the ground, so I assumed the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave. We have ads starting in about 2 minutes. Welcome to Duck Windows. Glacier track with Deltarune. Honestly, you're probably right. You're probably right, Duck Windows. When ads play, we will go into clip mode and I will get that ready just in case. Just for you, Diggs. Well, yeah, Diggs too. Just for you, Duck Windows. Thank you for the stretch and hydrate, Mario fan. We are about to get into ads, just letting you know. So we're gonna stop it right here for a bit. So get your popcorn, get any kind of snacks at this moment. Go pee as we go on BRB. And when we come back, I'll ask if everybody's fine, if everybody's good with me reading, and then we'll continue our read. Yes, Mario fan, I do have plans on reading your suggested story maybe next week or whenever we decide to do another creepypasta. Because I this is not the last creepypasta we're doing this month. We will be reading more. But let's go on BRB. And we will be right back after these messages. Checks. Moonwalk Zoe. Yeah, I'm moonwalking. I do not want the nut. Nice. I swear, if Sen says nutless...
Deciduous tree emoji, deciduous tree emoji, deciduous
What happens if I
tree
switch?
emoji, deciduous tree 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 emoji.
She's still there!
Deciduous tree emoji, deciduous tree emoji, deciduous tree emoji, deciduous tree emoji.
We're rating now before it's too late.
Tree emoji.
Oh my god. Okay, we're rating. Chat, think it's...
Weeb, deciduous tree emoji, 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 deciduous tree emoji.
That was an accident.
They technical Slayer, what is happening right now?
Why does it sound like Nickmo? Why does it sound like Nickmo?
Please hold.
Right? It sounds like Nickmo. Hold on.
I think Betty's cat is on the prowl. I need someone to come put that beast down. First, Betty doesn't show up to the PTA meeting this week, and now it seems her cat is on the loose again, leaving its disgusting feastfuls of feathers behind on neighbors' porches.
Nickmo cameo, but
God, that's such an old meme, and it's always just so good. Oh, you want to do it again?
yeah, I want to do it. All right, Greg, this is for you.
Let me at him.
Nice try,
Oh.
Kong.
What? I slid into you and it gotcha. Oh yeah.
We're
You
doing that
can't
again.
get
We're
past
running that.
scenery.
We're running that back.
What if somebody, like, they put this on cartridge and they're like, yo, you want a copy of Mario 64? And they're like, hell yeah, it's just this.
So, the next one I can play is going to be one made by Kaze, and it is the most optimized Mario 64 game of all time. It's incredibly optimized.
Is that sarcastic or real?
No.
Ah! Why is it so loud?
There are certain sounds that are iconic to you, and I think having I always forget her name. I keep thinking her name is Mara, which it's not, because that's the name of that persona. But what's her name? No, I died again, Mari. Okay, you can see how close I am. Okay, Mari, Mara, they're very close. Oh my god, they just spam protect. This is when Sen looks at me when they're angry. Sen's like, "Urgh." And then they crunch me. Okay. If I stay on the ladder, will I live? I am not living through this. I'm frozen again, Medusa. I'm frozen again. I'm frozen again. I'm frozen again. Nice try. Gotcha. I'm free. No, you have to talk to Warris. Why are you funny? I'm so confused. Why Bunny? What is happening? Sen! There's a thing over there. Ow. Stop damaging me. She'll just went up your spine. It's called diarrhea. You should get that checked. F! Oh, okay. That's fine. I still have COVID! Only God can heal me now. God, please heal me. You're not God. Who are you? You know, I had a dream someone looked just like you. I'm an average 80s kid. What do you mean?
Sometimes you just gotta sit Jex to I want to live.
Ah!
Oh, you're funny.
I love how it's just a different plane.
Hey, Jex, do you know about the Pen 15 Club?
Yes, I know about the... Ah! What the... I didn't want to take a screenshot! Game! I did... What? They're called wankers in Japan? Wait, in the UK? What do you mean? Walkers! Wait, wankers is something completely different. Call you. Sen, did I tell you that I caught a Griffloon today? What do you mean? I touch corner and die. This is the part where Sen perishes. Why does the sword there? Oh, well, ghosts haven't quite left yet, but you're such a brave boy. In fact, I renamed my... What? How? What do you mean you renamed your child? You're gonna give him an identity crisis. What do you mean? My name is Jigsaw. I used to be Berg. Okay, you know what? Your name sucked before. That's fine. I'm glad your name doesn't suck anymore. Okay, yeah, it is kind of tough. Okay, let me actually play the video game. What? Bring the noise. There's the P. Easy as pie. We've got the P rank. All the exhaust fumes. Oh my god, I took 31 damage. I had an asthma attack! No! Instead of homesickness, it's asthma. No! I gotta run. I can't. I can't! I'm dead! Oh, actually, hold on. Oh! 30! A dagger-like shard of the black knife strikes the weakness of dark element enemies. Okay! That's just a shard of their weapon. Oh, actually, hold on. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why that clip started repeating. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry it took a bit. I was eating ice cream. As you can see, that is why I was delayed, because I was eating ice cream. And it was very yummy. Yeah, hopefully, is everybody back? Welcome in, Maestro. I think I saw Spelly earlier. Welcome in, Spelly. Even if it was to lurk. It was yummy. It had like that crunch, like that chocolate crunch coating. It was a cone. Rocky Road. All right, so we're gonna continue with our reading. If everybody's ready to go, it is time to read more of this story. You keep forgetting to grab. Oh. Also, Duck Windows, I do have Glacier ready for when a certain... I think I know exactly what time that you want me to use it, so I'll use it when we get to that point in the story. I think I know exactly what part of the story you're talking about, though. Okay. Only enemies here were Mantago spawn. But as you can see, the little B words were everywhere. Music certainly didn't help. With a mixture of screeching sounds and loud drum beats that sounded like a monster's theme from a horror film. After completing it, I'd try to avoid playing through any more of these levels whenever I could. The map was short, The map was short, so it was only a few minutes before I was headed towards a rematch with Gizora and Mogera. But this time, their sprites and attack patterns were vastly different. Hey, welcome in, Vormir! This is Godzilla NES Creepypasta, and we're on chapter 2 at the moment. Have a good night, Dusty. Really appreciate it. I fought Mogera first. Let me see if I can change the music real quick. I believe it is the... Mogera. Okay, I fought Mogera first, but Mogera's replacement was a flying machine with a slight resemblance to a Pascagoula alien. It was a bit like fighting Mothra, only it moved with a lot more grace. It attacked by spinning its front tentacle like a corkscrew, and it still had an I-beam, except now it fired from the drill. This design is sick, by the way. This design is freaking sick. Another thing you have to think about is Godzilla is massive. Godzilla is a massive creature. And this thing is like much taller than him. Mother Brain, is that you? So like imagine if you see Godzilla and you think he's huge and then you see this thing and it's even bigger than Godzilla. It would have scared you as a kid. You were actually in the game. Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a good design though. This lanky aberration had replaced Gizora, and the new beast was more of a challenge. It would run and jump at a fast pace, constantly swinging its arms around and making it hard to get close. And of course, it tried to pin me in the corner with as much annoying resolve as ever. I defeated it using a combination of tail whips and heat beam spamming. So you can see. Look at this creature. I defeated them, and I was going to fight Titanosaurus, but when I started the fight with Titanosaurus, it was nowhere to be seen, and the game simply went back to the map with Titanosaurus piece now missing. There was... I'm getting called! Hold on, give me a quick second, chat. Give me a quick second, I'm getting called. Give me a quick second, chat. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My mom needed some medication. Sorry about that. Alright. We're back. Alright. Okay. We're gonna start off from the beginning. I defeated them, and it was going to fight Titanosaurus, but when I started to fight when I started the Titanosaurus fight, when I started the fight Titanosaurus, it's sometimes there's like a typo or like an incorrection there, and it kind of throws me off. Welcome in, Krusty. But when I started the Titanosaurus fight, he was nowhere to be seen, and the game simply went back to the map with Titanosaurus piece now missing. There was nowhere left to fight now. No one left to fight now by Biollante. So I was eagerly starting the so I eagerly started the battle. I was quite surprised that Biollante started the fight in her rose form. She was immobile and used tentacles to keep me away from the main body, which took the most damage. You can see the creature right here. As expected, she turned into her final form after taking enough damage. The sprite looked pretty damn good for 8-bit. I mean, that still looks really good. The battle technique was the same, except now Biollante could move. Albeit slower than any other monster, being hit by the tentacles did more damage now. And Biollante could do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping in the screen cap. Actually, no, Godzilla NES from AVGM. Isn't that game like a mix of fighting game, platform, and a board game? As far as I know, yeah. This is a Godzilla NES creepypasta. Very famous. Not much more difficult than to beat than Titanosaurus. It only took 2 rounds. But when Biollante was gone, the music had stopped, and there was a new icon replacing the bass. This icon wasn't there before I beat Biollante. It resembled a red tribal mask, and I had a feeling of dread when I saw it. But since it replaced the bass, it must be the only way to exit Pathos. I moved Godzilla to the square and started the level. Hey, Bandy. Run. Let's go ahead and, music. It was a hellish-looking place with no sky and a flickering fire in the background. The fire looked more advanced than anything I've seen on the NES. There was music, but in the form of a slow, steady drum sound resembling a heartbeat. All the text on top of the screen and the life bar were gone. In their place was a single bit of text in the middle of the screen that said, "Run." My feeling of dread had intensified. I cautiously walked through the level, but like the Blue Mountains, there were no enemies. I paced around for a minute before thinking, "Run? From what?" The first time, it hit me. I didn't even see it. I heard the noise outside my room and turned back to see if something fell. And when I looked back, Godzilla was dying. I figured there must have been a glitch but I wasn't going to play through the game without Godzilla, so I restarted the game and went to the password screen. Have I ever mentioned how creepy the password screen music is? If you haven't played this game, you know what. If you have played this game, you know what I mean. it doesn't at all fill the mood of the game. It's more like something from a horror game. Maybe they made it so that kids wouldn't cheat. I was quite annoyed at this point, because I thought I was going to have to fight all the monsters again. But that didn't happen. The game started me off right where I was before the red face level. So I tried again, making sure to pay attention this time. That's when I heard a low bellowing sound. And when I saw it, this thing. Do you know that feeling in your body? That feeling when your body has when you feel like you're in extreme danger? You start to recoil and you tense up, as if the adrenaline flows through your veins, and your nerves start to feel very cold. That feeling I had is when I took this screen cap. I haven't seen all the Godzilla movies, but I'm pretty damn sure this was never in any of them. It had to be something the creators made up. What kind of sick F would put this in the children's game? By sheer dumb luck, or perhaps the adrenaline boost, I managed to run fast enough to get away from it. It ran very fast, so much that if you saw it, you were almost certain you were going to die. And when I say die, I mean your monster gets killed instantly if the creature touches them. Once I had gone up from the map, I was so afraid that I was extremely tempted to shut off the game and try to pretend this never happened. But I couldn't believe what I had just seen. It couldn't have been real. And even if I wanted to continue, I still had time to get Mothra through this chase level. But as I stayed inactive in the map screen for a few minutes, my fear was replaced by burning curiosity. What the hell just happened? What was the rest of the game like? I only had to beat this level with Mothra and then and then it was on to the next world. But when I moved Mothra to the red face, the game registered me as beating the level. I was quite relieved. I tried to prepare myself for the next world. Trance. And that is Chapter 2. So chat, for those of you who haven't seen it, what are your current thoughts on the first 2 chapters of Godzilla NES? As we go as we go on into Chapter 3, Trance. Creepy. Wrong song. This one? I think the wrong song. Hold on, give me a quick second. It's fine. You know what? We're going to go back to the song. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good song for the... Okay. It's pretty good so far. Creature's scary. Crackling sound on the end of my on my end and generally got a bit spooked. So we're gonna get started on Chapter 3, Trance. I was still pretty shook up from the last level when I started Trance. Trance's map music did nothing to ease the tension. As for how to describe it, have you ever heard the theme from Videodrome? That's the closest thing I can think of to compare to. I checked to see who the new monster was, and it was Orga, a monster who didn't make his film debut until 2000. Appearing in a game made in 1988? So much for my theories about Titanosaurus and Biollante. There's no way this game was made in 1988. Yeah, didn't get a decent Godzilla games until, like, I think PS2 and OG Xbox era. Those guys at Toho may be smart, but I'm pretty sure they couldn't see that far into the future. If they could, they would have never given Roland Emmerich the rights to make a Godzilla movie. No, this had to be a hack of some kind. It just opened up even more questions. Who made this hack? When? How? And most importantly, why? The why was the question that bothered me the most. My immediate assumption was to think Billy did this to pull a joke on me. But that couldn't be right, either. Billy didn't know how to make a ROM hack. The jab towards Roland Emmerich. And if he did, he'd probably do something simple and stupid, like replacing the monsters with crudely drawn genitalia. Unless Billy had some amazing game editing skills, and serious dark streak in his imagination that he never told me about, he couldn't have made this. Is it even possible to put a hacked ROM into a cartridge? It is, by the way. Aside from all that, my eye was drawn to a new icon on the map. A question mark. I was really curious as to what it did. Here's the question mark. So here's the quiz. I'm sure you're curious, so I'll explain the quiz levels now. Since this is when they first start appearing. There were one of these per map from here on, and they always appear near the start of the map. When you start a quiz level, you appear on a screen like this. You like dogs? As you can see, the question on the top is yes or no button, an emoticon in the center. I refer to the emoticon as face, real creative, I know, and for convenience. I refer to face as the one asking the question. The music on the quiz levels was a track actually in the game. It's the one that plays when you try to use Ghidorah cheat and get sent to an unplayable level. The face will ask you 12 yes or no questions, and you you move your monster to the buttons for your answer. I want face as an emote. When you answer, the question disappears and face changes expression for about 8 seconds, and he goes back to neutral, and the new question pops up. There was no time limit, nor any right or wrong answers. Face has no respect for the player's personal boundaries, and will sometimes ask deeply disturbing and personal questions. For example, do you like hurting people? Have you ever killed/r'd to anyone? Have you ever been that by a family member? Other times, he would ask questions that were either mind-numbingly stupid, is the sun hot, is water wet, or flat out ridiculous. Does your dog like the president? And maybe once per quiz, Face would ask you a question about the game. With one exception. Face's expression changes seem to have no effect on the game, except for indicating what the game's creator might have thought of your answer. His reactions rarely made any sense, and at first I thought they were randomly generated. The questions never followed a pattern. Face never stayed on the same subject more than 2 questions. Early on, there were some questions that made me think Face was building up to something, only to ask some stupid garbage. Here are the expressions of Face that I saw while playing. I'll separate them into 2 categories: the expression I understood and the expressions I didn't. First are expressions that I understood. You can see them right here. Neutral is his default expression. Angry, if you try to attack Face, his expression changes to this, but nothing else happens. Sad, happy, sick, maniacal. Face made this expression when he was being an, a-hole. You'll see what I mean later. Surprised, love, annoyed, confused, guilty/hurt. And here are the others. 2 of these only appeared once, numbers 1 and 12, and I suspected them might have been in jokes from the creator. Their respective questions were, do you like ice cream, and are you a tough guy? As for the questions, in the first quiz, luckily I had a notepad and a pen handy. I've had problems remembering things, and so I often carry one of those around to jot things down. And sometimes I doodle it when I'm bored. By the way, that's an Eve thing. Eve does that. So when the first quiz started, I thought I'd record what happened. I'm glad I did. Here's the list of questions. Do you like the game? Answer, yes. Reaction, happy. Are you afraid? Answer, yes. Reaction, surprised. Excuse me. That's too many emotes. I no longer want faces and emote. Are you over 18? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 5. Do birds have teeth? Answer, no. Reaction, love. Is peanut butter good? Answer, no. Reaction, sick. Does the moon rotate? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 11. Have you ever had a job? Reaction, answer, yes. Reaction, confused. How dare you not like peanut butter? Do you like hurting people? Answer, no. Reaction, annoyed. Is the sun hot? Answer is yes. Reaction is sad. Do you like dogs? Answer, yes. Reaction, happy. Is the president good? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 3. Does your dog like the president? Answer, no. Reaction, angry. Now that I've explained all that, time for the gameplay. After the quiz level, I decided the new green temple icon first. Wow, maybe this is why the game was so weird. One of the designers was clearly drugged out of his mind. Embed fail music. And it is Yumaniki music. Excellent choice. Jokes aside, I was quite impressed by the graphics of this level. As disorienting as they were, but I hate those creepy blank staring faces, the music had a hypnotic Indian techno vibe to it. There were 2 new enemies in this level, a flying ghost type thing with a trunk, and a bat with a horse skull for a face. They appear at random, but I was lucky to get a screen cap of them both. Oh, I'm going the yellow. My stream. Oh. Hold on. Stream, please. Give it a bit. Give it a bit. Hold on. Pausing that for right now. I'm gonna give it a second because I'm having. Okay, is everybody back? I had some buffering issues. Is everybody okay? Pause and unpause if you feel like you're delayed. Pause and unpause. We good? Okay, I had like a dip. I went to 0 for like a second, and then everything's fine right now. Okay, we're good. Here I can see the stream. Perfect. I'm good. Okay, perfect. Okay, we good. We good. And then I proceeded to the Boom Mountain level, expecting another nice, calm stroll. And I took my time walking through, and it was completely taken back by surprise when this happened. Not Mogera came in speeding towards me and took off quite a bit of health with his tentacle screws. It only took me 2 minutes to kill him without having to worry about time limit, but the boss monsters never showed up in the scrolling levels in the normal game. I was worried as to what other rules the game would break. After another Blue Mountain stage, it was time to fight Not Varen, whose replacement was one of the most bizarre in the game. Where is Varen? I think I have Varen track here. Is Varen here? I'll just play Mogera, that's fine. Look at this creature. Spooky music intensify. This strange creature attacks you by kicking and is opening up its chest and firing a heat-seeking missiles. I still don't get it. The missiles were sometimes a pain to deal with, but I found that you could tail whip them out of the way. Not Varen was possibly the easiest of the monster replacements. The same could not be said about Not Hedorah. I think there is a Hedorah. Here it is. He's not even looking at us. But look at this. Remember, this Godzilla is massive, by the way. This thing is freaking long. Creepy. Apparently the source of the horse bats, Not Hedorah, was the most aggravatingly difficult monster to fight yet. Mostly because his special ability, he could shriek and summon small swarms of those horse bat things. I know there's only 2 in the screen cap, but every time he did this, about like 10 would arrive. The AI took advantage of the distraction and attacked twice as fast with the horse bats were flying around. One annoyance, once that annoyance was over with, I went through the Green Temple to kill some enemies to restore my health. Interestingly, none of those horse bats showed up after Not Hedorah was killed. And that's when I got an idea. We're gonna change it back. I know I'm changing music constantly, but I'm trying to get the setting. I don't have. Here's the problem, Duck Windows. I don't have. I don't have. Oh, actually, I could take this out in a different window. Let me see if that works. Okay, so oh, actually, I took out the wrong thing. Go back here. Take this out. I have a different tab. Is that maybe that'll be fine. Okay, if killing all the monsters make the Red's face show up, what would happen if I avoid fighting Orga? Go straight to the base. So I gave that a try. There is no monster here. The game told me there was no monster there when I tried to start the base level, and immediately afterwards, the game took control of my Godzilla piece and moved it in front of Orga. My little trick didn't work, and so I prepared myself for another chase. But first, to beat Orga. Let's see if this works. The fight with Orga confirmed another thing. Whoever created this game hack was clearly a Godzilla fan. Not only because they picked a monster like Orga, but because they actually implemented something that happened in Godzilla 2000 in a really neat way. Orga's primary attacks are a punch and a heat beam from its shoulder cavity, but once you had gotten him down to half his health, he did something new. He would expand his jaws and try to swallow Godzilla in the process of stealing your health and energy. But doing so, he gave himself a weakness. Firing a beam into his mouth would take a devastating 4 bars of his life meter.
4.
Thank you, Eve. With that weakness revealed, I soon beat Orga, and despite how much I hoped for otherwise, the red face appeared on the map. And where the base was... music stopped. I readied myself as best as I could. Started the level, seeing that it was basically the same as the first. I didn't waste a millisecond before I started hauling. Orga is irredeemable. His eating Godzilla with no honey mustard. As soon as I encountered the obstacles in the form of the ground tile suspended in air. I soon encountered obstacles in the form of ground tile suspended in air. most of them you could jump over or destroy. Others you had to crouch under. About 40 seconds into it, I would hear horrible bellowing roar, and saw the spider beast following me close behind me. Stacks of obstacles barely slowed it down, and it would back up and then charge its way through them, smashing them into bits. And when the smaller obstacles got in its way, it would expand its jaws and swallow them whole. I was afraid, with fast thinking and a faster button. No. The faster button. I escaped. Sorry, I'm getting to the point where I'm like getting a little confused. Hold on, let me drink some water and kind of. You know how like when you read after a little while, you kind of start like mumbling. We're only in chapter 3. I think we're like halfway through the story. I think. If we do finish the story, I'll find another story to read. Maybe something short during a BRB or something. Okay. When I was afraid, but with fast thinking and faster button pressing, I escaped him yet again. I felt really excited, so I laughed. Not this time. I decided to take a screen cap to celebrate. But when I said that sentence, just before the level ended, the monster did something that made my blood run cold. It looked at me. That wave of mortal terror overtook me again, and I'm sure as hell wasn't laughing anymore. I took another screen cap for the next level title right before I rushed to the bathroom to splash water on my face, and to take a piss. I nearly failed to contain when that thing looked at me. Dementia. Not dementia. And that was chapter 3. We are in chapter 3. Oh, there's actually 8 chapters. Okay, I thought it was 6. He took that personally. We are now in chapter 4, Dementia. When I got back to the game, I was getting pretty upset and confused. I thought about the way the monster looked at me. The game couldn't have heard what I said. That's impossible. Excuse me. It had to be a random occurrence. But why did it happen precisely at that moment I insulted the monster? Nothing about this game made any sense. New Godzilla monsters, weird replacement monsters, out of place imagery like the green temples, quiz levels, and the red monster chases. It didn't seem to add up in any kind of meaningful way. If this is a prank, it wasn't funny in any way I could understand, and clearly it put far too much effort into it. And if they were trying to make a genuine sequel with the new Godzilla monsters, then why did they add everything else? Maybe it was some kind of art experiment. Some group project made by a bunch of really talented and crazy people. And they lost the cartridge somehow? Or maybe they intended for some random person to find it. I like. Were there like NES horror games? NES and SNES horror games? There were quite a bit. I think the SNES horror game that I can think of right at the top of my head was Splatterhouse on Super Nintendo. And Clock Tower. Clock Tower is a SNES game that I don't believe came out in the States, but I believe might have come out in Europe. I'm not too sure. That's a game to stream. That would be really cool. Nightmare on Elm Street on NES. Yep. There's a Friday the 13th one. Yep. It has like the best title music. Really good. It was all just fruitless guessing. As far as I could tell, there was only one way to figure out what the deal with this game was. To play it through the end. Maybe, just maybe, there would be something in the credits. An explanation by the creators as to why they made this. Or it could be something much more cryptic, strange. Maybe even something horrifying. Before I got a look at the dementia board, I considered replaying Trance to see if the red monster would look at me again. But I decided against it. I wanted to keep moving forward. I was also somewhat worried that backtracking might cause this game to become even more strange. The dementia board music sounded a lot like the Saturn music, except it was slowed down and played with a piano-sounding instrument. Like most of these new map themes, I had a dangerous, suspenseful feel. Listening to the music, I looked at the dementia board. There were 4 boss monsters in this time: Space Godzilla, Manda, Gigan, and Baragon. I was surprised there were 2 new Toho monsters this time, but the best surprise was still to come. I started the quiz level. Here's another list of the results as this in the same format as the last one. Can you swim? Answer, yes. Reaction, happy. Do you like fish? Answer, yes. Reaction, sick. That's a Jonathan question. Can penguins fly? Answer, no. Reaction, sad. Can it spin in all directions? There was no clarification on what face meant by it, so I just guessed. No. Reaction, surprised. Do you breathe do you breathe oxygen? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 8. How does it taste good when you bite a woman? I don't know who came up with this question, but I really hope they're getting mental help. Answer, no. Reaction, annoyed. Is it night where you are? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 6. Do you like cats? Answer, yes. Reaction, confused. Is water wet? Answer, yes. Reaction, angry. Have you ever broken a bone? Answer, no. Reaction, happy. Do you like your job? Answer, yes. Reaction, hurt. Would you like a new monster? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 11. Welcome in Boreal, the Arctic Fox. We are reading Godzilla NES, which is a creepypasta. New monster! I just saw the creature named Red from Creepypasta rolled on a Discord bot literally just now. Tenchi's following you. I wasn't entirely sure what he meant, what face meant by a new monster, but I couldn't resist answering yes. Just to see what would happen. The result was mind-blowing. Let me go back. Whenever I pause, I'm just changing the music real quick. New monster time. The game took me to the board and I had a new playable monster in the form of Angirius. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to play as Angirius, since he was my second favorite Godzilla monster. And plus, I never really liked Mothra that much. I moved my new Angirius piece over to the level right next to it, eager to test out my new monster. But before I get to the level description, I'll talk about Angirius for a bit. Using the up and down buttons, you could choose whether Angirius stood in bipedal stance or crawled around on all fours. It wasn't a huge difference, but being able to stand was helpful in boss fights, and crawling sometimes helped dodge obstacles and attacks. He could punch and kick like Godzilla, but no tail whip. Instead, he had something far more interesting: the ability to curl up into a spiked ball of death and roll around. You could take damage, but it was lessened. It was a good way of clearing out any stage enemies, but fortunately doing this also drained the power bar. But the spike ball wasn't his only special ability. When you press start, he would fire a beam of energy from his mouth. It resembled Titanosaurus's sonar attack, and if this were a hack, it may have been inspired by the roar attack from Atari's Godzilla's fighting games. Also of note is when playing as Angirius in the level meter gets glitched up. Judging by the life and power ball, I'd say he's level 10. Now on to the level. As you might have guessed from the level icon, these levels are green palette swats of the ground and background tiles from the Blue Mountains. What immediately caught my attention was the water, which had a transparency effect. Was that even possible for an NES game? I know the Super Nintendo could do it, but I have never seen a transparency effect on an NES. The Green Mountains music was the same instrument as the Blue Mountains, but the melody was totally different. It was a very simple song with a lot of abrupt pauses, followed by a loud note every few seconds. Anyway, I went through the usual strolling through the level, and again, there were no monsters or anything. But pretty soon, I had reached a cliff above the water. There was nowhere to go but into the water, so down I went. The transparency effect made things a bit harder to see, but it's tolerable. After going underwater, I encountered two new enemies: a giant piranha and some kind of spiky bottom feeder thing. I liked the piranha because I could easily tell what it was. It was a sane enemy design that would appear in a real game, and there were very few enemies like this. Piranha. They didn't take much hits to kill, but they were quite annoying and could considerably trim down your life if they had gotten close enough. They also tend to travel in packs. As for the bottom feeders, they are easy to deal with. They swim along the bottom of the screen towards you and are easily crushed by the roll attack or jumped over. In the screen cap, you can see me about to run one of them over, and there's a pack of piranha behind it. Welcome back, Mario fan. After I beat the level, I moved Godzilla into the blue castle icon. I started the level and got the title screen. Hold on, give me a quick second. Give me a quick second, chat. After I beat the level, I moved Godzilla into the blue castle icon. I started the level, and I got a title screen with the text, "Unforgiving Cold." I think this is the wrong song that I thought. That's fine. Actually, this might actually be the song that Duck is on. The level itself looked like a castle. This is the track. Okay, perfect, Duck Windows. Thank you. I knew that I was right. The level itself looked like a castle dungeon that made of blue bricks with rows of identical white faces on the walls. These statue faces had a permanent look of horror to their faces. There was also some flickering gray static, which didn't really obscure my vision, but adds to the very unsettling moods of these levels. Blue bricks in Godzilla NES? Let's skip ads really quick as I read this. Okay. Whenever I played through one of these levels, I got a sudden horrible feeling of anxiety. And I had this feeling that the farther I progressed in the level, the closer I was getting to something unspeakably evil. There weren't any enemies, but there were some of the longest levels in the game. I only played one level, but it took 7 minutes to complete. So this is how it looks. I didn't want to admit myself at the time, but I realized something playing the Blue Castle level. The bull hasn't played Cosmic Wall. I didn't want to admit it to myself at the time, but I realized something playing the Blue Castle level. Excuse me. This game has the power to make the player feel certain things. I don't mean that you get. I don't mean in the sense that you get irritated by playing a crappy game or get unnerved by playing something scary in a game. What I mean is a certain events in the game that can instantly make you start feeling something. I know it sounds completely insane. I don't blame you for not believing me. I wouldn't believe any of this either if I didn't play the game myself. But there's something very, very wrong with this game, and I still don't know how to explain it. So, then it was time to fight Baragon's replacement. I'm gonna change the music quicker. Good choice. Good choice. Good choice. Although Baragon was originally the smallest monster in the game, his replacement was the largest. And it was so tall, in fact, the ground was noticeably lowered, and not Baragon's head was still barely avoided a collision with the bar on the top of the screen. And he was just frighteningly bizarre as he was huge. You may be wondering how he attacks without arms. Well, he has one of the most powerful kicks in the game, but his other fighting technique is much stranger. First he blasts with a cloudy breath of pixels down at you, which causes you to freeze. And when he walks back into the right corner of the screen, he extends his huge Gatling gun from his abdomen. Now, Chad, I know what you're thinking. Chad, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, chat. That might seem amusing to you, but it certainly wasn't for me when I was playing the game. This attack is the most annoying as Gigan saw, and not Baragon could have been unbeatable if he constantly used it. Thankfully, he only did it twice while fighting him. Once you unfreeze, you can run up to start damaging the gun, which does extra damage to him. This helped me to destroy him, and when it was time to play the third type of level, I was decided that I was going to use Angirius to fight Manda and Gigan. Then fight Space Godzilla as Godzilla. It was only fitting. Before getting into the battles, I'll describe the third level, the Arctic. The Arctic is exactly what you would have guessed from the name. It's an icy tundra with few watery segments. Buffalo. This music reminded me a bit of Northern Hemispheres from Donkey Kong Country in 8-bit form. Guess what's playing right now? It's a very dangerous sounding song. Made me think about getting trapped in tundra and freezing to death. Ads are gonna start in 3 minutes. There were 2 new enemies in this stage. The first was a creature frozen on a block of ice. They block your way, and you have to use the heat beam to thaw them out of the ice. They look a bit like a bit of a smaller version of Nagazora, only without the eye. Excuse me. Look at this creature. When freed, they do a strange crawling movement and push you backwards. It doesn't cause any damage, but it's a bit annoying. After dealing with the Iceman, I kept walking for a minute too, and came upon a water segment. Creature, it is Slender Man. I like this little pose. This thing must be tall, by the way. Narration, the series being only 480p did a really nice so much of the pixel screenshot, including Mogura's second fight, which actually... after dealing with the Iceman, I kept walking for a minute to two and came upon a water segment. I jumped in, and this time I managed to get a screen cap showing how the water splashes when you jump up. I don't know how they programmed that, but it's pretty impressive. Another interesting thing is how the screen changes focus when you go underwater. Here you can see another new enemy. I call this thing, a little thing I call Spike Walker. They walk towards you and explode randomly, or instantly if you attack them, sending spikes in every direction. The spikes don't do much damage, but they did get me dangerously close into falling into a pit a few times. Oh, speaking of pits, down into the water, the game has a platformer element, bottomless pits. There weren't any of these in the original game, since it was strictly an action game, but the pits were a neat addition. After getting back on land, I encountered a very unexpected mini-boss, Maguma, the Walrus Kaiju. I know this game had obscure monsters to begin with, but wow, not that I'm complaining, it's pretty cool cameo for an unappreciated kaiju. Maguma's tactics were fairly simple. He had a freeze beam, and he could charge into you. Not very challenging, but certainly more entertaining than Matango's mini-boss in the original game. Okay, so we're about to get into ads. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna pause this. We're gonna take a break. Take a break for those ads. Go to the bathroom, get a snack, do whatever you need, and we'll be back after these commercials. See you in a bit. Okay, there's... What? Where am I? What happened? Where am I going? I'm invisible? Where am I? What? Alexa, fart! Hopefully the game runs well. Low battery? No! Immediately. Anyways, we're back. We... Like that noise, chat? We're back. Yeah. Why? Oh no. You're long. Oh, I'm too long. Oh, gotcha. So we have a pet. Where does he go? Did you see that? Where did he go? I guess I'll join too, but only for this room. No one was asking! I will also join. Look at him, the longest team ever. The longest team ever, it's so good. It only happens in this one room. It's the original Star Walker. Look at him. This is why we talked to him in Chapter 1. Isn't this great? And now they're all gone. Oh, okay. That's fine. I still have COVID! Only God can heal me now. God, please heal me. You're not God. Who are you? You know, I had a dream someone looked just like you. I'm an average 80s kid. What do you mean?
But Jack's my swim. I want to swim.
Swim the swim?
It's the original.
Swim, we'll dance and we'll play and
Key
Star
Cavern is
Walker.
Dungeon 3. Thanks for the medicine. You ruined. Oh wait, no, you didn't. Oh,
Sure, he's fine.
He's fine, guys. He's fine.
No,
No,
Jax.
Juggy, every check on him like
Jobbathan? Jobbathan battle? Oh, what's that start with you that I'm retiring as a trader? Brian. I like how in this one he has no hair, and then in the battle sprite he has like luscious hair. The moon! Kaboom! Mike. Booty Nari. Oh, yeah, I already passed. Now that Earth's crisis is finally over, I think I'll just lay down for a moment and... I become a little bird. You get them. They're all in this. They have colors, but they're mostly just green and skin. They look like they're wearing pajamas. Well. I sent a picture of Mr. Bones to Kami, and Kami's like, "Why is there a skeleton in a store trying to sell me product?" What do you mean, army of men? Oh my god. I didn't even play this game on my own. It's been forever since I played this. I'm gonna have an asthma attack instantly because I'm gonna fight a freaking truck that's gonna come after me. I didn't mean that for real! He's like, "Yes, Papa just got lost, just like he said. Now I'm so famished. I can't move. Can you give me some victuals?" What is victuals? He goes, "Om nom 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 nom." Do that thing again. I am not grabbing that nut. Nuts will not be grabbed today. Damn. She does that. Why is she a chain chomp? Chain chomp, Nari? What happened to her? Sen? What happened to Sen? Why is she a chain chomp now? Om nom 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 nom. Sen got the cravings right now. Sen's gonna Sen's like, I want Chipotle now. Oh, now she's normal. She got her Chipotle.
I've been really busy being dead. You know.
How do you like that?
You murdered me.
I did.
Oh no! No, 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 no!
That's the clogging Diggs was playing.
Okay, look. We both said a lot of things that you're going to regret.
At the end of the movie, it does nothing. There's the ring. Don't put it on. Ah! Ah! 6 eyes. Ow. Ow. I'm gonna die. Don't choke. Don't mess up. You messed me up. Game baiting me. Let's bring it home. Oh yeah. We got the P rank. Thank you for the stretch and the hydrate. No! The double kill!
I played this minigame a whole lot.
Oh, never mind. Curry died first.
I blame DK.
Never mind.
Your fat ass kept me from going over there! God damn it! Literally, it was a sliver!
Sliver.
I got 3 coins. Frick you. Stinker.
Is. Wait, what? How did I clip in the box? And last fairy. Can you leave? I'm trying to get in this building. Stop! They're talking about me and Sen. Get out of my face, twerps. What? Gang members? Wait, hold on, give me a quick second, quick. Hold on. Oh wait, hold on. My head hurts, please. Okay, hold on, please stop. Hold on. What is happening? What is happening? I don't understand. Why am I in space? Is this a survival portion? Why are there newspapers after me? Oh! Oh! No, I don't want to be taken by the way. The stick is peaked, the buttons and joystick are better than the Game Boy. Really? I was gonna make you sleep, not me! Now I'm EP. I'm gonna put my hand around the other way. Maybe that's what's causing me. I'm confused and EP! This is what Sen thinks of me. Okay, I'm back. I was distracted by clips, and I was genuinely taking a voice break for a little bit, drinking some water and refilling stuff. And we are back. We are back with the story. You know, you gotta take a breather every once in a while and look at the funny clips. We are back with the story. Also, the freak, Tom and Jerry, the Game Boy Advance game, as weird as it was one of the funniest streams I've had in a while. It was so funny. Blasphemy. Thank you for the hydrate. The back pain is kind of... I do need to do more stretches because the back pain, even though it's a little less than it was before, it's still there, so it still hurts. But hopefully I start feeling better. I think this week will be the week where I like recover from the thing. I still have to cut grass though, so I'm gonna see if I can do it tomorrow. The only problem is I'm gonna try not to do it too hard. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to the story. All right. One really interesting thing about Maguma is that he doesn't die when you defeat him. He turns his tail and retreats. This is the first time I've ever seen an enemy monster change direction. I don't know, retreat. I tried to chase after him, but he disappeared after I got in the water. And that does it for the Arctic. I'll talk about Manda next fight. The Manda fight next. I forgot to mention before, but the music that played during the new monster fights is actually reused from the themes from the games. So here's the things. So Manda is Varen's music, so we'll be properly. This is actually a good thing because it'll tell me what music is playing. If I click it. By the way, I'm reading from OBS. Embed fail moment 2, yep. Poem. As for the Manda fight, it was fairly crafty opponent. When it realized one tactic was ineffective, it would immediately change to a different one. Excuse me, this isn't Vampire Zoe, that's true. We're reading Zoe for Creepypastas. Welcome in, Toasty. Manda used quite a few tricks, like spitting fire, biting, and the most irritating one of all, constricting. It doesn't mercilessly drain your life like Gigan's cutter, but it was by far Manda's strongest attack. One last thing of note, that I found was pretty cool, is that a Tragon showed up during the fight to help me out. Manda crushed it with ease, but it was still cool. After I slayed Manda, I played through Arctic level for health power-ups, and when it was on the Gigan's replacement, when the fight started, I was very confused because there was nothing there. I thought this was going to be like the Titanosaurus fight in Pathos, but just about the time it would have been going back to the map, a piranha appeared on screen. But it wasn't there for long. As soon as it appeared, the speakers emitted an ear-splitting screech, and Not Gigan flew and ripped the poor fish into pieces. Switch version of Galaxy 1 and 2. Ooh, new song. Not cracky. Well, that's one way to get the player on their toes. That a bump entrance scared the hell out of me, and I got my adrenaline rushing, which in retrospect was a good thing, because Not Gigan was one of the fastest, most unrelenting opponents in the game. But who would have fallen for this? Not Gigan was tough, but my new skills with Angirius helped me even the score. This was still an incredibly intense fight. Not Gigan's attacks consisted of some kind of blood laser he spews from his mouth and the downward slash. I was expecting some hellish variant of the buzzsaw attack, but thankfully, there didn't seem to be one. Looked like a big tongue. The How attack was invaluable in defeating him. I would have taken more screen caps of the fight, but I really had to concentrate. After that, there was just one more monster to take down, Space Godzilla. As I mentioned earlier, I used Godzilla in this fight. Space Godzilla's fighting technique was rather frustrating, but admittedly very clever idea. Space Godzilla would use his energy crystals to create two flying crystals, which would reach the ground and become crystal spires. These spires would not only block you from reaching Space Godzilla, but also allowed him to constantly recharge full of energy, and blast you with a deadly, fully charged Corona beam until you broke its spires. Space Godzilla would eventually drain his own spires of energy until they shattered, but if you waited for that to happen, you'd probably lose a lot of life. Heat beams are usually seen to be re-energize the spheres, so if you you had to use physical attacks. When you finally got close enough to hit Space Godzilla, he was no pushover. When I punched him, he punched me back just as hard. Space Godzilla does everything in his power to knock you back with the left corner of the screen so we can create more spires. This guy predict COVID. By the time this is over, I had only just about 5 bars of health left, but it didn't matter because I didn't need to fight anymore. I needed to run. Here we go again. I decided right then that I really wanted to see the end of this game. As terrifying as these levels could be sometimes, I had to beat them to get through. I decided that no matter what happened, no matter what the game showed me, I was going to get to the end. I had also made sure not to say any damned word while playing a chase level from here on. For this chase level, I tried Angirius, since his roll attack allowed me to move faster than a Godzilla or Mothra. The chase started off like the first two, except there was a river of blood on the ground. Yeah. It was beginning to get the hang of it, and the extra speed from the roll helped me get the edge on the red monster, especially since I didn't have to worry about power limit, so I could keep rolling endlessly. Like the previous levels with water, the ground inevitably reached a stop, so I rolled off the blood. To my surprise, the Hell Beast didn't follow after me. Just stopped at the edge of the ground and grimaced. I guess it can't swim, I thought to myself. So I went under blood and continued moving. There wasn't anything around, but I knew something was up. The chase wasn't going to end that easily, could it? Surely something else had to show up. And sure enough, I heard the bellowing roar sounding slightly different. And the monster was following me in a new aquatic body. I had no idea it was a shapeshifter. After it reappeared, the chase started to get into the difficulty I had expected. Being submerged slowed me down, and putting me and that beast at about the same speed. The only thing that would keep me alive was fast thinking and reflexes. I encountered some bottomless pits, in which mines floated up on from. I assumed that if you hit one, it would damage you and knock you back. Considering how fast the red monster swims, hitting the mines would be instant death, so I went through the great effort to avoid them. But that wasn't all that I had to be wary of. Halfway through the chase, the hell beast revealed yet another surprise. Tentacle formed of intestine and tipped with clawed set of jaws burst from its mouth, trying to pull me in and devour me. I only barely avoided both the tentacle and the mines, but I could tell the beast was getting desperate, because the chase was nearly over. About a minute later, I had spotted a bit of ground that served as the exit. I leaped with all the might I could muster, without breaking my controller. The beast screamed with rage and jumped out of the blood river in one last attempt to drag me down, but I escaped its grasp. This time. I fell back on my bed and took a deep breath. Satisfied with yet another successful escape, now I was headed to the fifth world. Entropy. Yeah, like the first comic, you know who else has dementia? And that was chapter 4, Dementia. Well, Chad, what do you think? We are considered about halfway towards the story. So we are nearing Entropy right here is the halfway point of the story. I'm gonna play the Smash one more. Scary. Yes, we are in the halfway. This is fun. Okay, so we are going on to. We're basically right now we are entering the. I would say we're entering sort of like the midpoint of the journey that we're going at so far. It's not the peak of the story yet, right? Because there are still questions that have yet to be answered. And those questions might be answered here, because this is Entropy Part 1. And so, obviously, this is where, I believe, this is where things start to shift into the absurdity of this story. And things start to get a bit more interesting. Now, I do have this is the stuff that I remember. Now, I do have my issues with the story, and a lot of that issues I will tell you when it comes. And a lot of it has to do with like towards the end of the story. This stuff right here, this is my favorite part of the story. All this stuff, like all the interesting changes, and like obviously we got red. Excuse me. We got red chasing levels. It has like has an intrigue, but also we're kind of going through a pattern. We fight bosses. We go through a world. We enter levels that aren't obviously in the game. There seems to be some form of theming, but it's not really clear on what that theming even is. If there's even theming at all. Excuse me, my neighbors. Thank you for the hydrate. I'm gonna need to hydrate because the further down I go in the story, the harder it gets to read. Is he a demon from the underworld? So obviously, again, in terms of from what I remember from the story, this is a question that I cannot answer. Because in terms of theming from the actual story, in terms of the levels, and what the levels show you, that, as far as I'm aware, is kind of left up to interpretation, which I think is very fascinating, because there's a lot of interesting things that will appear, that have appeared, and will continue to appear, and I believe this is where things are going to be very interesting, if I remember correctly. But we're going to get started with Chapter 5, Entropy, Part 1. So it's our first, this is the first parter for a chapter. In the original game, the sixth world was Pluto. Ironically, despite being the smallest planet, Pluto was the largest and most diverse world in the game. Entropy had a different layout, but was similarly huge and diverse. The board music was played by a violin instrument, a melody that started sounding mournful, and then it gets rather, I guess you would call it, distorted. It makes me feel depressed and unnerved. Not something I would want to hear while trying to sleep. Strangely, none of the levels from the previous worlds were present here. Instead, there were 8 brand new icons. The bosses this time were Megalon, Batra, and Mechagodzilla. Where is it? Hold on. Here it is. As usual, the first thing I did was go to the quiz level for another interrogation from Face. But when I got there, I noticed something different. Instead of the usual goofy Ghidorah music, it was the password theme. This music change seemed to be intentional, because after the first 2 questions at the start, the quiz started to take a darker tone. Do you like ice cream? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 1. Do you like clowns? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 10. Is time slipping through your fingers? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 2. Do you have any regrets? Answer, yes. Reaction, hurt. Do people deserve to die? Answer, no. Reaction, weird face number 3. Is it safe to go out at night? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 5. This is the actual page. I don't know why there's a markup here, not gonna lie. I think it's just, this is the real page, like the original page. I don't know why the markup's like this, not gonna lie. Do you find it hard to sleep at night? Answer, yes. Reaction, weird face number 9. Have you ever killed anyone? Answer, no. Reaction, weird face number 7. Do you want to kill anyone? Answer, no. Reaction, angry. Are you actually accomplishing anything? Answer, no. Reaction, weird face number 4. Does life have any real meaning? Answer, no. Reaction, love. Do you like Mothra? Answer, no. Reaction, maniacal. I knew that last one was gonna be a gameplay related question, but I had no idea what the result would be. Wait, was Flowey based off of Fate? Oh. No freaking way. Nobody liked playing as Mothra in this game. And there was a good reason for that. Every other time Mothra gets hit, she gets slammed back to the left corner of the screen. She sucks at fighting because her attacks are so weak. The only benefit Mothra has was being able to fly over obstacles in some levels. So, I answered no, and Face actually replied back to me with not only the maniacal expression, but with the text, "Too bad." I was taken aback to the map screen, and I was shocked to see Godzilla and Angirius have disappeared from the board, leaving only Mothra. Face had just screwed me over. Needless to say, I was pissed, but there wasn't anything I could do. And I'm willing to bet that even if I had said yes, I would have been stuck with Mothra anyway. Face giveth, and Face taketh away. I took a deep breath, got ready to explore. There were two paths that I could take to the board. I decided to take the lower one. This turned out to be a good choice for reasons I'll get to momentarily. Let me go ahead and we're going to change the music. Trying to find a good track for this. It's because some of these are like... No, wrong. Okay, hold on. Fine, we'll use this one. Okay, maybe not this track. Maybe not Doom. Hold on. Hold on. There you go. Perfect. Can't go wrong with you, Maniki. Yeah, it's got a whole playlist of the music that was used in the video series, and I'm like going through it, but some of them are like music that I genuinely don't think I can play on stream. And so I'm trying to find tracks that I'm like trying to find tracks that I think would work well. OG Doom 1 and Doom 2 would be great streams. I honestly, you're probably right. You're probably right. Me when forcing Jex and Sen to play mech levels. The first world. Hold on, let me make sure I have this actually looping. Okay, I do. Excuse me, Deltarune Chapter 1 Forest Track. I think it sounds a bit too fantasy. I'm gonna keep it like this for right now. The first world was ahead of me was the forest, so I started there. Almost immediately, I got an eerie feeling. Did it change? I literally, I actually, no, I put loop. What do you mean? Anyways. Almost immediately I got an eerie feeling. There was something about this level that seemed off to me, even more than the previous ones. Perhaps it was the pitch black background. I've always been afraid of being in a forest at night. Something about those trees makes me feel me feel surrounded and vulnerable. And the fact that I was stuck as Mothra didn't help. Playing the game's previous worlds as Godzilla gave me a feeling of bravery. Being in control of the King of Monsters, I'd be able to handle just about anything in my way. But it's not like that with Mothra. No feeling of strength or security. Now I'm just weak. Easily overwhelmed bug, traversing into the unknown. Back to the level, the music had new instruments, sounding like woodwinds, followed by slow, rhythmic drums and chiming bells. Gave me this feeling I was intruding into some dangerous place I really should not be. After a while, I encountered the first enemies of the stage, or at least I assumed they were enemies. They were strange, long-legged deer-like creatures. Instead of attacking, they were just idly walking around. I went to approach them, and they ran away. I feel like Sen would love these creatures. Not the Mothra slander. I thought about shooting one with an I-beam to see what would happen, but it seemed wrong. These creatures were harmless, so I passed over them and continued through the level. About halfway through, I encountered groups of deer-like animals. And also 2 new creatures. A sloth-like creature with a beak climbing on a tree, and a hairy raptor-esque beast that were preying on the deer. It was very surreal watching these creatures interact. I didn't feel like I was playing a video game, but rather I was traveling through a forest of some other dimension. Yeah, this is Yumineki music. The creatures ignored me for the most part, although the raptors did attack me when I got too close, or if I attacked them first. I know I one-shot one of them to help the deer creatures escape. I got clawed at, but confrontation was easily avoided by flying up to the top of the screen. Creatures. After that, I had to choose whether I wanted to play the levels with the hourglass or the TV screen. I picked the latter, and I got just what I expected. When I pressed the button on the start of the level on the TV screen, like I normally would, an animation popped up. There was no music in the background, which was a goofy... there was also music in the background, which is the goofy Ghidorah music, which is this track, by the way. I was somewhat unsettled by this because it was just so strange. I found it a bit spooky because I had a shirt that looked just like that when I was a kid. After staring at the animation, you could go back to the board by pressing any button. After that, I had no idea what to expect for the rest of these icons. I wanted to try the hourglass icon next, and I was somewhat relieved when an actual level came up. Who are you, my good sir? It was certainly an unorthodox-looking level, all brown with time-measuring instruments floating in the air and gigantic grandfather clocks in the background. The music was the same as the board screen. And very early in the level, I encountered something I didn't expect to see. Original enemies from the game. And not just that, it seemed like to be a whole fleet of them. And the yellow tanks, which were normally immobile, could move now. I took some damage, but it was nothing I couldn't handle. But the most interesting thing about this level were the colored hourglass items. There were 3 of these. A blue hourglass that made time slow down and filled the level with enemies from the past. A red hourglass that made time speed up and filled the level with enemies from the future. and the green hourglass that set up time in normal speed and filled the level up with the enemies from the original game. I encountered the blue hourglass first, and as stated, the game started to slow down. And I saw the enemies from the past, which were given 5 different types of prehistoric animals. I don't know much about prehistory, but I believe all these enemies represent real animals. The level went into another segment and introduced a green hourglass. And when I fought the original enemies again, the same 5 types didn't, and it was the same 5 types. Excuse me, so I didn't take any screenshots. But the last segment, I encountered the red hourglass, and the enemies that must have been from the future. Now, whether or not the game is showing me 8-bit renditions of creatures that will actually exist thousands of years into the future, I have no idea. But But with that thought in mind, I found this particular segment to be very eerie, and was made much more tense because everything moved faster. One of the future enemies bore striking resemblance to something I saw in a book once, called the Trudon Man. Another looked like some kind of organic spaceship. Mixels, my beloved. There was 1/5 type of creature, and when it appeared, the others ran for their lives, leaving me alone to battle it. It could fly, but its sprite didn't actually move, and its single attack was firing a lightning bolt from its face. Even so, it was surprisingly powerful, and I suppose it would be considered a mini-boss. After defeating it, its health, it left the health power up and restored the health and energy that I had lost fighting it, which was convenient. It seemed like I would need all the help that I could get to beat the world with with Mothra alone. After that stage, with that previous stage, I called Time Warp. The next stage appeared to be a toxic waste dump. As you can see, the places looked grungy and inhospitable. The music was a short looping ambient synthesizer song. Listening to it made me feel like I sniffed some toxic fumes myself, and it was messing with my head the whole time. I even felt like I was choking when I was playing this level. The enemies all seem to be mutated to some degree. In some screenshot, in the above screenshot, you can see the green mummies with bird skulls that jump out of the waist to spit projectiles. There's also a brownish cow skeleton with monster with spider legs. Radioactive dog. Halfway through the level, I even saw one of the deer from the forest. What was that noise? I heard doo-doo-doo. Am I fine? Chat, am I still streaming? Chat? Yeah, you're here? Okay. I heard a doo-doo-doo. Maybe it was from the music? I don't know. That... Still here. You thought it was you because I don't know what did that sound because nothing unplugged. It does that sound whenever my internet goes out, so that's why I was worried. But I guess it's fine. Stream has not crashed at all. Stream has been going, like, perfectly fine. Actual mysterious spook. I can't believe the creepypasta is real. Spooky, scary skeletons. Halfway through the level, I even saw one of the deer from the forest. It was alone, and when I saw it, it was drinking toxic waste out of the barrel with its anteater-like tongue. I was moving over to try to make it stop, but then its flock of skull birds came out of nowhere and started attacking. It's staring right at me. The deer was scared and ended up running off the ground into the toxic waste. I felt bad for it. One of the birds bit me, but I regained health quick from killing all of them. They were rather weak. I pressed onwards. I pressed onwards. All of the levels in Entropy was probably the most normal in that there were little deviants from the move forward, smash things formula in the original game. Thank you, Gila, a bit. I encountered more creatures throughout the level, like tentacled blobs and some kind of deformed thing with human-like teeth. I didn't feel like provoking them into a fight, so I kept flying near the top of the screen. I still had to deal with the occasional flock occasional flock of birds now and then. At the end of the level, there was a large green bluish-green lake, and they would encounter some other mini-boss. Some kind of monster with a long neck and a whale skull. It attacks with a mouth projectile and by charging into you. It could also go underneath the water and rapidly emerge from a different place. It was a bit harder to beat than the boss from the Time Warp, and I had a lot of health because it must have taken me 3 minutes. And it had a lot of health because it must have been taking me 3 minutes to defeat it. It let a really loud noise when it died, and then it sank to the back of the water as I left the screen. Back on the board, I went to the nearest level icon I hadn't seen yet. It was a little white tree, and I guessed, the level was winter-themed. Recolor of the forest stage. Chaos from Sonic Adventure. Unlike the regular forest, I didn't feel nerved starting this one. I think the music had a lot to do with it. It was gentle, calm song. It almost sounded romantic. It was quite stress relieving, and the forest itself looked much less ominous, covered in snow. I traveled through the first segment, enjoying the atmosphere for 4 minutes, when I suddenly realized something. I hadn't seen a single creature since I started the level. Where are all the animals? Soon after I left the screen, the next segment started. In the second segment, I was still in the winter forest, but now the music was gone. I was starting to feel suspicious. But then I reminded myself there were other empty levels in the game, and this was likely another one of those. But then I heard something familiar. The 12-second loop music from Unforgiving Cold. Starting up, I could feel my heart sink as I came across this horrible sight. It was a whole group of dead deer creatures covered in snow. Judging from the blackish blue tone, remember your snow graves, of their skin, they must have all been frozen to death. In closer inspection, some were missing body parts. Now I was frightened, but I still had to keep going. Before exiting the level, I was really hoping to see something resembling previous forest animals in a living state. And sure enough, I did. This creature was very much like the beaked sloth, except this thing had white fur and was more of a beaked gorilla. It was walking very slowly when I saw it, but I was happy to see at least something alive. However, it didn't stay that way for long. A pack of raptors, who must have sensed that something else was still alive, came rushing from the right of the screen. The beaked gorilla didn't stand a chance, as one of the raptors immediately lunged at it and ripped open its hind legs. These winter raptors acted far different from their temperate relatives. While the other raptors only attacked while hunting prey or when provoked, the winter raptors seem to have all gone insane. They attacked everything in sight. One was running back and forth, clawing at nothing Even the noises they made sounded different, more high-pitched and enraged. As I left this second segment, I even saw two raptors fighting to the death. They were both covered in injuries, and one of the raptors had been blinded in one eye. I took a screenshot, but I didn't say to see who won the fight. I only had to get through one more segment before I could go back to the board screen. But this segment was no longer in the winter forest, but instead a very empty, grassy plain, with the bright gray moon in the sky, and the pleasant music from Winter Forest 1 had returned. And immediately I started to feel dread. This is going to sound crazy, but this is the absolute truth. The game made this level from one of my memories. Excuse me. After a long stretch of nothing, I reached the lake. Then the moon moved from the sky and began to hatch like an egg. When it did, it curled up a humanoid figure that fell into the lake, as the moon halves quickly disintegrated. This is a Sen the Moon Dragon was born. I heard a splash when it hit the water in a moment of silence, and the screen began to shake. A new creature emerged from the water. And thus I was introduced to to a monster I call the Moon Beast. This is the only screenshot I took, and as I was focusing all my concentration on winning the fight, and it was the most difficult fight yet, stronger than any of the other previous bosses, this creature would have been hard to take down with Godzilla, and with Mothra, it seemed nearly impossible. I suppose I would consider myself fortunate when the beast lacked any attacks like Gigan's Saw, because if it had, I would have never won this. I barely had 3 bars of health when I finally killed this abomination. But what happened afterwards is is hardly what I would call a reward. Alright, chat. Here's where we get into the part of the story where I have kind of an issue with it. Here's what I call. We're getting into this part. "2 a.m. Delta." You know what? You're probably right. I have like a lot to say about this part. And maybe not that good things. So, I've been trying to keep my promise and suppress memory of this for years, but it seems as if I have to get this off my chest. This is a very painful memory for me, but the game already knows about it, and I think you should too. I'll just tell you the important parts, because I just don't like bringing this experience back into my head unless I have to. Back when I was in middle school, I had a girlfriend named Melissa. She suffered with some kind of mental disorder that caused her to go into episodes. When she was in an episode, she would stand or sit perfectly straight and still, and her face would instantly lose any expression she had before. She would speak very clearly without any hint of emotion. When it was over, she would start trembling and sometimes bury her face in her hands, and remain silent for several minutes. I can't really convey this feeling, convey the feeling it gave me in words, and I won't try. You had to see this person to understand. But despite this, she was a very kind person and I cared about her deeply. We liked to hang out in the field at night and look at the stars. But one night, she didn't say anything to me at all. Just stared directly at me at the moon, trembling. I tried to talk to her, but she suddenly sprung up and ran straight into traffic. I tried to stop her, but it was too late. She got hit by a truck, was killed that night. I looked at her right in the eyes when the wheels went over her neck, and that sight has always haunted me. I know that the game knows about this, because when I defeated the Moon Beast, this happened. Scary. I am not a big fan of this kind of... Red is a Call of Duty player. I like this effect. I think this effect is really cool. I'm not a big fan. I'm actually okay with the idea of like, hey, we're the name Melissa, even that's fine. I'm not okay with the episodes and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of like the episodes and all that. There is a reason for it. There is a reason for it. It's not a throwaway line. I'm just not a big fan of it. And we'll get to it as we go through, but this is kind of like the first like I'm not a big fan. Is this something I don't understand? Usually when cuz like usually people who go, how do I say it? Usually people who have like schizophrenia and all this other stuff, it's usually not handled very well. The way it's approached, and like there's a reason for it here, and it makes sense in the story. The more we go into the story, the more we'll talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of episodes. I don't know, something about that. But this was. NES Godzilla walked so that every copy of game title is personalized can run. Yeah, many people don't get treated. It's a very touchy subject, and I don't know if this story is actually like. This story is not trying to tackle that subject, which is confusing. If that makes sense. Because it kind of brings it up like it's going to. Because it is obviously like a memory that this person had when they were in middle school, which is traumatizing enough, right? So you can see it's like stereotypical in a way. Yeah. It's like a very surface level understanding of what that is. Right? Again, the story will explain things. The story will explain things. But, excuse me, it feels like it's not trying to talk about this subject. Like, it's not trying to talk about that subject. It kind of feels a little forced. Again, as we go, there is a reason for this, and it makes sense. it's not that subject. It's just strange that it's brought up. The reason why I'm very kind of like vocal about this is because it is a very real thing that happens to people, right? It is a very real thing, and so there has to be a reason, or there should be a reason to bring it up, if that makes sense. Is the way they handled it, yeah. Well, we'll get more into it, but right now we're going into chapter 5, part 2. Yeah, the supernatural thing is kind of what makes it a little weird too. There's a lot about it. There is a lot about it because it doesn't. When we get to it, it feels like it's not really about that subject, but it makes it kind of downplay that subject a bit. Because the reason for it is also part of the problem when it comes to this subject. We have an ad starting in about a minute and a half. I gotta go pee. Chat, if you need to go pee or you need to go get a snack or anything, please do so. Please do so. We will be right back after these messages. I gotta go to the bathroom. So we'll be right back after messages. Bring the noise. Bwah, bwah. Here it is. Okay. It's going up. Very easy. We've got the P rank. Easy. Oh, not yet, not yet. Oh, wait. Wait, do I get the swag finish? No, I don't get the swag finish. Oh! Dot matrix with stereo sound and color? Thanks, Sen. Mwah. I've got a couple of little projects in the works. What? What? Evil! Evil! You tricked me! When the universe was created, its shards became this plate. Okay. Hello. Friends soap? What do you mean friend soap? Friendship, oh. Miyamoto was like, drown that man. We need What? What do you mean Mario dive jump? I've never seen that ever. I've never seen that. Got something against Noel, Chris? Like, hey, maybe things look weird. I need a drink of water. Oh, I was there. Okay. The funny twist one is that it's freaking. The twist one is that it's freaking. Susie, Chris, as long as there's any pain I can take in your place, I'll be there, okay? The twist is that it could be freaking what's his face?
Take that.
Sen! Oh my god, thank you so much for the 5 gifted
That's
subs!
me.
Oh my god, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Sen.
That's me.
Oh no.
That's DK. Come on, Curry. Come on, Curry. Do it for me. Do it. Yes, Curry. Thank you. Thank you, Curry. It's because I gifted those subs. Thank you, Curry. I love you, Curry. Thank you. Thank
Oh
you.
my
I love you too.
Curry, that was amazing. That was amazing. Oh my god. Wow.
I wanted to get Jax, but this works.
Okay, I may have waited a little bit to start stream. Started it back up again because I wanted to do something funny. Oh shoot, I'm dying. No! Oh, crunch noise. Hey, Chris! What happened? You just started saying something, then you, like, bit the hell out of your hand. Damn, that's gonna bruise. And I shouldn't have told that story. Forget it. Damn. Yeah, I like playing the drums. Can't really screw it up, you know? It's just hitting stuff. Wardrobe is full of choir robes. There's even one your size. Damn, why don't we get to wear these? What? I would have to sing or something? Hey, why don't they just let me play the drums? Check HP. I'm at 1 HP. I'm at 1 HP. Holy cow. Comms chat. Praise the Burger King Cinery! Sen is here to give you burgers and PS1 games. Cinery. Well, chat, would you give Sen burger? I'd rather just have incentives and stuff like that. I think that's much more fun.
Oh yeah. And let yourself get rest checks.
I swear, if it's... How am I gonna approach them? I like the way the head shape is, like where it's like, You need to go across the tightrope. I wonder why I can't do that right now. I'm being assaulted by monkeys. What is happening? Why is there no music? That red one is unused. If you kill it, oranges come out. Oh no, bullets come out. I say it as I burn Mario to a crisp. He goes, Mamma Mia! What do you mean? Is this loaded yet? I'm copying that right now.
Hang on, I gotta turn my fan on. It's getting warm in here. So.
Excuse me, it's a little bit loud. I could, hold on. I could put it down a tad. I could put it down a little bit. Just a couple decibels. Ah! There, is that better? I was testing the mic. I missed the platform! Just, I forgot Jerome! You're right! No! Oh, I barely missed him. You were right. I was right there. I want to be female. Even though I have a couple of them. Hi, Felly. Hi, Coulter Chimp. Hi, Snover. I want to be female. Even though I have a couple of them. Hi, Felly. Hi, Coulter Chimp. Hi, Snover. Number 15. Cinnery Foot. The last thing you want to see on your buffalo foot soda is Cinnery.
Problem,
Right man on the roof.
The power bracelet!
That's not the right croissant!
That's not a croissant. That's not a croissant.
I got a level 2. I could do face shrine.
Level 2 croissant.
What is the Frenchman of all the croissants? Where's mine? Chucky, please!
Looking right at it. Oh, wait. Okay, so this does work. I was wondering if it does.
Brr.
Call you. Sen, did I tell you that I caught a griffin today? What do you mean? I touch corner and die. Oh, that was a risk and a half. Oh. Moon jump, Sen, you moon dragon, what have you done? Where am I going? Ah! All the exhaust fumes. Oh my god, I took 31 damage. I had an asthma attack! No! Instead of homesickness, it's asthma. No! I gotta run. I can't. I can't! I'm dead! Please, dip me! Oh, yes, I did it. Wait, no, my HP is still low. That was a weird glitch or something, because I don't. Okay, does that look like Brian? Like, does this look like Brian? What does it look like, Brian?
Probably because they're forever spawning.
The problem is I need to get enough. Oh wait, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Perfect. Actually, Santa. If I can make it back in time.
Santa's gone. Oh, Santa's back.
Hold on. Santa. Oh, come on. Yes!
Oh my god! Damn! Nice, Jack. That was very impressive. Oh my god. Wow.
She does that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was talking with my dad and I just decided I needed to take a little bit of a voice break because, man, reading for 3 straight hours is kind of hard. Have a good night, Seth. So, but yeah, we are back. We are back to the we're back to the story. Hi, MacGuffin. All right, we are now in Chapter 5, Entropy Part 2. How's my back feeling? I still have some pain. It's doing a lot better than it was yesterday and on Sunday, because on Sunday was pretty bad. I'm doing a lot better right now. I do have a little bit, but I'm doing better. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm like I said, I think this week is gonna be just me recovering. I'm gonna be recovering this week because, my God, I don't know what happened, but I might have stretched myself, or like I might have done super bad. I don't know what I did. Yeah, there was a lot happening this past weekend, and most of it is over, but my back still kind of hurts. Hey, Uncle Bandit. Yeah, I was chatting with my dad. We were talking about like kidney stone stuff. I'm fine right now. I'm just like looking for things to help clear my system. Even though, I mean, I've been pretty clean. I've actually been drinking mostly water. and so it's been super clean. But I'm more like, if there's anything still in there, I need to like make sure that I get all of it out. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to find ways to make sure. Yeah, they're very painful, but they can be. It's because I had a kidney stone come out a couple days back, and that was not good. But I had a kidney stone come out. It was pretty big too. But I've been you know, it came out. I've been hydrating. I haven't been feeling any pain in the you know, in that specific area. Like my whenever you get kidney stones, or whenever I get kidney stones, it's usually like on the side of my right. Sometimes it'll switch to the other side, but it's usually like right in the side. And I don't feel that anymore. I don't feel any pain from there. The only time I ever feel pain from there now is like if I'm leaning on there too much, and that's usually because that's just bad posture, which I need to fix. But for the most part, I'm doing okay. But yeah. Reading a big story, by the way, like this is kind of an endurance test, and so I might have to stop at a certain point if it gets too much, because like I talk every single stream, and I talk a lot whenever I'm streaming or whenever I'm on Sen stream. I talk a lot, right? But when you're reading a story, it is like a lot of talking, and after a while, after a while of reading, I start to get kind of like, not like dizzy, but like it gets hard for me to actually read what I'm looking at, and so it becomes a bit like, it becomes a bit much. Yeah, reading is pretty tiring. So I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna finish part 2. And honestly, finishing part 2 might be a good stopping point anyways, because then that would mean that I would have 6, 7, and then 8 and the epilogue. And that would be quite a decent amount. So we're gonna keep going for right now. Okay. And after that, the game went back to the board screen. It was all I could do not to burst out screaming. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the controller. I knew the game was going to test me if I kept playing, but I had no idea it would go so far, or if it was even capable of doing what it just did. I feel like my brain is going haywire if I ask myself, as I ask myself, did the game just read my mind? That didn't seem possible. But what other explanation was there? It was then that I could no longer deny what seemed obvious. This game is alive. And not only that, it can establish some kind of mental connection with the player. Yeah, reading can make you tired. If you're reading like silently, obviously that you get tired, you have more endurance from that, but like if you're like speaking and reading and like performing, it really does weigh in on you. Every enunciation is a bit of effort. It didn't seem possible, but what other explanation was there? Oh, yeah. And yet I couldn't convince myself to stop playing. I don't know if it was the game messing with my mind or my stubborn curiosity, but even with the previous revelation, I really wanted to see this through to the end. Even more so than I did before I beat Dementia. Terrifying as it might be, even dangerous, I knew if I quit playing, I would never be able to stop thinking about it. If I tried to restart the game, it might go back to being normal again. How many people ever get to witness something like this firsthand, let alone being able to take screenshots of the whole thing? Effed up as it was, this is an experience of a lifetime. But even so, I couldn't take the chances with my health. I had the TV remote right next to me. I had to turn the TV off in case I felt I was in actual danger. And if that didn't work, I would pull out the plug right out the wall, run out of the room. Surely, that would be enough. Whatever powers the game has, it seemed to be confined in what it can show in the TV, and whatever its mental connection could do. The latter was what worried me. I still don't know what I was dealing with, so I wasn't about to underestimate it. I took a break for a few minutes to calm my nerves, and then it was back to the game. Speaking of TVs, there was a TV screen icon right below the white forest. I had just left, and because the first animation was so bizarre, I began to try. I figured I'd try another to see what happens. Although with the same animation, I got a totally different one. Bro, it's totally time. I would keep playing. Honestly, if there was like some crazy, weird, effed up game, I would absolutely keep playing it. Now, the moment it starts relating to me, that kind of gets me to be like, I start to hesitate. But if there's like a weird, creepy game, I would absolutely dive right in. Like, I freaking love creepy mysteries. I don't know what about it, I just love it. This is what Sen does when they look at Chipotle. Nom, 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 nom. Protagonist being a goat, most creepypasta protagonists at this point would start crying, pooping and puking, pooping and screaming and crying and coughing and puke. I should play something like I'm scared. Weird. For the music, for this one was the Neptune board music. So the Neptune board music would be this one. Fitting, I suppose, since it's a fisherman and all, but I can't help but wonder what the point of these things are. There was one more TV screen icon, so I figured it must have a unique animation of its own. I was gonna make sure to see what it was before I left Entropy. Then it was time for another level. The gold brick icon was the closest thing, so I went for that. And I started up in the gold labyrinth level.